As promised, we are going to go ahead and show you how to make a horizontal button. Again, as you can see from our first video, we have our vertical buttonhole. And we're going to go ahead and continue with this work and show you how to make a horizontal one. So, again, we're going to use short rows. You want to make sure you have your work up to the point that you want it, deciding where you want to put your buttonhole and how wide it needs to be, your yarn, and of course your handy pair of scissors. Now, warning with this tutorial, it is quite a bit more labor intensive than a vertical buttonhole. But if you have to do a horizontal one, it's just the way your work is turned, it's personal preference, have at it. But a caution is, this is not going to work for a small button. So you're going to want a larger button, at least, let's say, a nickel size or larger. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with our forward pass. Up into the point that we want our buttonhole to start. So we'll do one more and we'll start our buttonhole. Now, here's the tricky part. Okay, we're going to start it here, end it somewhere around here, and so we're going to pick up our short row in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, we'll do 3 stitches across, or 3 squares, as you can see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and work this short row, and the other difference between this and our other version is that this short row is only going to be 1 tall versus the 3. Okay, so again, as with before, we're going to cut a nicely sized tail, because we're going to be joining our work back onto this piece. So we'll go ahead and cut it here. And we'll pull this out a little bit so it's nice and out of the way. And then we've decided that we want our buttonhole at least 3 spaces across. So we'll actually be joining in the 3rd, because this is going to form the beginning. So again, take your yarn, and as is our preference, we're going to go ahead and work over the yarn. That way it keeps our tails to a minimum. Oops. And last little bit. Ah! And then the very end of our row. And of course we're going to work these off as you would with any other Tunisian simple stitch. 1, and then 2, the rest of the way through. Now again, we've decided it's only going to be 1 row tall, so we're going to go ahead and cut our yarn and fasten off this end. Okay, now here's where the tricky part goes. When you do this, you're going to have bear with me because it is something that needs to be done a little slowly. So if you can use the other technique, we probably would highly suggest it. We wouldn't want to discourage anybody from taking on a challenge, but it is just a lot more preferable and easy and sensical to do a vertical buttonhole. So we're going to go ahead and start here at the beginning, just like we would for any. And again, as we get to the end of the row, you see that there's this little edge right here. Well, we want to go right in the edge of the leg versus the entire stitch. Now, here's the important part right here. You've got 1, 2, 3 across, so you need to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. So you've chained your 3, and that's going to stretch across. Now again, we go into the first little leg, continue to draw up our loops, and go through 1, and then 2, the rest of the way until you get to where you chained. And if you have forgotten, you will find out because you will run out of loops that are right next to each other. So you'll notice that you've got this nice little gap here, your chain, and then the rest of your loops. What you're going to do with this is, again, you're going to cut this right here. You're going to remove your hook and go ahead and bind this one off. And then you're going to skip these right here, your chain, and you're going to go right back to the remainder. And you're going to start this as if it's the end of a typical row. So you're going to go through 1, and then you're going to go through 2 for the rest of them. Now, you notice that you've got this nice little gap, that this is tall and this is tall, and then it dips and sags. We're going to do a slightly taller stitch over those stitches to compensate for that when we get there. So, start your row as you would, drawing up your loops. And then, of course, go to your last leg. Now, when you get to these, you can see your chain 3. So you're going to yarn over and insert your hook to the first one, and then yarn over again and draw through the 2 loops. So you've got 1 for that one. Again, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into your next stitch, draw up that loop, and yarn over those and draw up through those 2. And then you're going to do it again one final time for this portion. And you notice that we have a little bit of a gap here, and that's because we worked into the side of the chain versus the back, which is what we normally do. You can work in the back, but it is going to be a little problematical because it's going to be upside down, but it is worth it. And so now you've got those 3 and then you can continue here. And we go here to that first little leg, if we can get it. And then the last bit, and then of course we're going to bind off, or do a reverse pass, excuse me. In the same way that you would for all other Tunisians. Now, we're going to pull that off. Now, you notice here that we have our tails that we did not situate, so we'll get those out of the way. But you notice here that the buttonhole is a bit bigger and a lot bulkier than the one that is down here. Again, that requires you to pull the stitches really tight to eliminate any little holes you may have. And then you can always tie your pieces together, which is these guys in the back. And we suggest doing that or working over them. But it is possible. Now you notice from the size of it, though, that you really do need to use a nickel-sized button or larger. But, as you can see, it is possible. So, whether you want to go vertical or horizontal, you can do it. Alright, again, if you have any questions or concerns about the video, please feel free to contact us and we'll do what we can. Have a great day.